Well, hey, y'all. Sorry I've been away for so long. I've been super busy. I've been putting my shiny new degrees to use this summer. I ain't gonna waste them like someone we all know. And I finally had a minute to try to catch up a little bit. And do you know what I found? My phone was blowing up, and I see there's all these new lives, and I thought, well, hey, it's been a minute. Surely there's something new going on in the world of John Yates. So I sit down with my cup of coffee, and I start to listen. And guess what? Ain't nothing new in his old merry-go-round world. His life just spins around in the same old circle. Now, Mr. Yates, I had a talk with you a couple months ago, and I told you you need some new material. And I was serious. I'm trying to help you here. You really need some new material, but you didn't take that to heart. The only thing new was Jules has graduated from just being a CI to a sex trafficker to being a sex trafficker and now being a child sex trafficker. Now, that ain't new. That's just lies. He can't come up with something new, so he just makes stuff up. If that were true, that woman would be in prison, and you know it. We all know it. But you still think you can sit there and make stuff up and people are going to believe you just because the 5 friends you have left might sit around and take everything you say as gospel. But the world at large knows you're full of shit. It was so disappointing, really, to just hear the same old, is it Terry Lynn or Terry Lynn? What does that even mean? That ain't funny. It wasn't funny the first time you said it. It ain't funny now when you said it 5 million times. Talking about her killing dogs and boiling cats over and over. That ain't even interesting. That ain't funny. Maria the bank robber, Gap-Tooth Heidi, nothing new at all since the last time I heard your shrieky whiny voice. But that's not my point. My point is how funny and sad it all is. Years ago, when my grandma first got me started on this, he used to have some kind of power, you know. When he took after someone and started running them in the ground, there were people that listened, and those people that he attacked kind of got blackballed in the whole community. But now, he can sit there and scream about these people till he is blue in the face, and he does. And guess what happens? Nothing. A big, nothing. Nobody takes this man seriously. When you're sitting there watching this sad little drunk man with foam coming out the corners of his mouth, looking like a grease ball, like he ain't been properly washed since he was a teenager. Ain't nobody gonna take you seriously when you're sitting there chain smoking and drinking wine and talking like this and repeating. Hadn't even learned in all these years. He loves to brag about all his years of blogging. In all these years, the man has not mastered screen sharing. All these women around him, older than him, started way after him, sitting there learning how to do all these complicated things. Well, this man sits there shoving his filthy phone up to the screen. That's all this man can do. Scroll, shove his phone up in the screen. It's pathetic. Fathead Julie sitting there going, drop my link, John. Well, I don't know how to do that. Somebody do that. I got a mod here somewhere. Are you serious? He don't know how to share a link? Or is he just that lazy? Or is it both? And they think that sitting there on a members-only live, talking shit about people, is doing something. Oh, you got everybody running scared. Everybody's so scared that this pack of weirdos, this sad sack of busted, leaky trash bags, sitting up there on a members-only live in the wee hours of the morning, talking this stuff over and over again, you think that's affecting anybody's lives? It just makes you all look even sadder than we already thought you were. Nobody's affected by this. All these people you're attacking, their channel's just growing and growing. They're sitting there getting super chat after super chat, and that's why you're mad. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Sit there and talk. That goofy-looking panel of misfits, of people that no one in real life wants to get near, are going to sit up there and talk bad about someone, and you think it bothers anybody? I saw the funniest thing. I don't know Terry Lynn, ain't never had a conversation with her, ain't never DM'd her, nothing. Don't know the woman except for the little bits and pieces I've seen of her, you know, on people's lives and stuff. That woman cracked me up this morning. I could not stop laughing. He was calling her and calling her and calling her, and she just like, what do you want? And he would go off with all his nonsense, and she just muted that man and put her phone down and went on with her live. It was such a queen move. I was laughing so hard. And she's doing her little quiz that she does on her lives, just asking these silly questions, and her people are answering her, and she's got this fool on mute, and he thinks she's talking to him. He tried to answer a few times, not realizing she wasn't talking to him. She's talking to her group. They're all having a good, fun time on her channel, and he's sitting there all miserable and bitter and screeching the same old Terry Lynn or Terry Lynn, you dog killer, cat boiler. Who is the obvious winner in that scenario, sir? Seriously, you looked so pathetic, sitting there in your greasy hoodie in August, sweaty, moist, filthy, saying Terry Lynn or Terry Lynn, and talking about a dead woman again. Sir, you are pathetic. Y'all sit up there and Julie talking about, oh, these pathetic losers. Oh, they hate me because I'm your friend. I'm Reddit. Lady, ma'am, with the big fat head. Look at yourself, thinking you're a Heather because you lost a few pounds? Lady, you ain't never gonna be it. And now you think you can sit in judgment of all these other women and look shame them and body shame them. Lady, we ain't seen your bottom half, but we all seen 600-pound life. We know what these people look like after their surgeries. I bet you need a good ironing, or some thumbtacks, or some staples, something, because that skin's been stretched out since you was about 12. That skin ain't ever gonna look okay, and you can get a bunch of it cut off, but we done seen them legs of them people after Dr. Now does his best work, and it ain't pretty. You don't need to be up there body shaming anybody. Your face is melting away. Look in the mirror. You're talking about people. Then next I hear you look shaming cooch and saying something, oh, filter don't help. Lady, you're hiding behind an avatar, and that avatar is filtered to high heaven, and you still look like a piglet. Seriously. Still not a kind of woman that needs to be belittling any other woman's looks. You're in the second half of 100 years, lady. Do something better with your life. You're up all night with John, and then all day long, you're scrolling through social media. You're listening to every single hater's live. You're going through the chats of haters' live. It is sad. Sad. Going through the chats of haters' lives, circling people's comments and posting them. It's really, really sad. How many hours in the day have you spent caping for this creep to try to get a little bit of attention or a head pat or something from this man that you are so infatuated with? It's really sad. There are better things you could be doing with your life. There's a million subreddits on Reddit besides things affiliated with John Yates. You always talk about Reddit like it's one little subreddit. There's a whole world on there of things you could find to do stuff about kitties, since that's all you got in your life besides John is kitties. You ain't got babies of your own. You love to baby shame other women. Where's your babies? But thank God you never had any. What kind of mother would you be? Horrifying to even contemplate. Horrifying. But I guess in your fertile years, you're out there selling women to sicko men out of a old hideous motel McDonald's your parents bought you for, what, $26,000? How much you sell them ladies for in such a desolate place? You can buy a building for $26,000 and buy some kind of split-living shack for $50,000. How much were you selling them ladies for in such a impoverished place? I can only imagine how you treated those poor women out of all your 400-pound jealousy. Yeah, we saw you in that newspaper clipping. We know what you looked like when you were selling these ladies. Bet you couldn't sell yourself, except for maybe those men who like to pay women to eat cake off their big old bellies. You are a sad, bitter, horrible woman in a sick life of your own making. Lost a job for John? Don't pretend you're working now. And if you are, shame on you for being on lives, combing through haters' lives, going through comments and circling them with your weird old black marker while you're supposedly working. That's why most of us don't believe you're actually working. But if you are, shame on you for getting paid for doing this when you're supposed to be doing something else. So which is it? Are you lying about working? Or are you stealing from a company by doing John's bidding when you're supposed to be doing an actual job? Which is it? One or the other. Can't be no other way. One or the other. Your whole community tab is just a wild heap of racism. You found Tony. Tony Chantel T. That's true. Everybody knew his name was Tony. People knew he was a dentist. What you don't seem to know, you moron, you racist. Words I don't even want to say. You see brown skin and you call him Al-Qaeda? His whole family is devout Catholic like your good buddy John. You moron, you racist moron. What kind of hate is in your heart that you see him and that's the first words out your mouth? First thing you say, your means of insulting this man is based on racism and hate. This man is more Christian than you are. But because he ain't white like you, you're going to call him Al-Qaeda and sit there and giggle while John calls him Taliban Tony? But guess what? Yes, he's Chantel T. Yes, he's the one that's friends with Laura. But he ain't Glenn Crack. Y'all sit there and say, oh, we have 100% proof. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't. You have proof he's Chantel T. That ain't proof he's Glenn Crack, because he ain't Glenn Crack. This man hadn't spent a single minute thinking about John Yates in 4 years, and he don't even know who you are or care, lady. No one cares who you are. You got involved in this because you put yourself in it. You started contacting everybody, DMing everybody, fighting with everybody. That's the only reason anybody knows who you are. And if you and John quit being friends, ain't nobody gonna care. We ain't gonna miss you if you disappear. You're on there because you keep fighting with everybody, but nobody cared to fight with you. Nobody cared about you. You put yourself in here to have something to do with your miserable life because your husband ain't never around when you're online. Ain't got a single friend. Spend all your time doing this. And you actually post about this, about people not spending time with their families. What are you doing? You got siblings, you got a mom. When do you spend time with them? You done let all your kitties die? And you're gonna talk about anybody else's life? I don't know. I ain't never seen anyone with a life as pathetic as yours. More pathetic than John and Cody. They're fighting their own fights. You don't even have anybody who cares enough about you to fight with you. You gotta fight somebody else's fight. You gotta take out your hatred on someone else's enemies. You got nothing in your life, lady. You're the only person in love with John. We don't love John. We're not jealous of John. We don't want to be John. John is disgusting. Disgusting. We are disgusted by John. And all we were doing about this man is playing back his own words. All the stuff he wanted to say in the middle of the night and then turn around and delete so that the majority of people never got to see it. We brought that to the surface. We shined a mirror on John. That's all we were doing, and you got to get yourself injected in that and start fighting. Wasn't nobody just picking on that man for no reason. We were showing his own words, his own actions. We were laying bare his lies. We would put a lie next to him saying the exact opposite to show he was lying. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And then you come in with all your hate and insults. You ain't got nothing on any of us. We don't have the secrets in our closet you have, ma'am. We don't have all the lies John told. So what have you got? Nothing but hate, racism, misogyny, look shaming, body shaming. Meanwhile, looking like Miss Piggy. You're a sad, leaky, busted garbage bag of a person, leaving slime wherever you sit. Your voice is nails on a chalkboard. Your personality even worse. You're far too old to be acting like this. Older than my mama, acting like this. Shame on you. You really need to find something to do with your life. 'Cause this is sad. You're gonna live out the rest of your years like this? For John? But you need to leave these other women alone. You ain't looking better than any of them. I don't know how you see yourself if you look at your filter and think you look like that, but even your filter picture is nasty. You have the biggest head I have ever seen. I don't know what happened to you in your childhood, or it's being married to who you're married to, or the things you've done in your life, but something has turned you into a horrible pickle of a woman. Just sitting around all bumpy and sour, marinating in vinegar. You need a change, lady. Look at your community tab. Posting that stuff about Nikki. What's she ever done to you? John went off on her because she shut down his OnlyFans, which he lied about, saying she didn't shut it down. Yes, she did. It's gone. Because you know why? Because he broke the rules. She didn't lie on him. She reported what he'd done. They looked at it, said, oh yeah, he did. And it was over. And for that, this is what she gets. Sitting there with a toddler in her home, and he's hovering over her home on Google Earth on a live. And you're sitting there supporting that. Because you got no motherly sense in you. You don't appreciate, yeah, she made John mad, but this is wrong. There's a baby in there. You don't think like that because you are evil and sickening through and through. And you're sitting there saying she did phone sex work. She did not. And you're sitting there, a woman who used to sell off other women, and gonna try to sex work shame somebody? And turns out she wasn't even a sex worker. What is wrong with you? She could be your daughter, you freak. Not only were you there, joining in on the hate, and at that time, lady, you were sitting there looking like 400 pounds. And sitting there while he talks about Oreos and ham and fat shames her. She wasn't near your size, lady. And there you were joining in. And now you sit there and dig up these lives from how many years ago and post them on your community tab. What is wrong with you? She ain't never done anything to you before all this. You picked a fight with her because of what happened with her and John. That wasn't about you. That wasn't your fight. She wasn't hurting nobody. We post about a man who has hurt people. And y'all are so quick to jump in. I have watched you for years. You say, oh, this account is this person. And y'all come out and attack, and you're wrong every single time. Time and again. Y'all dox some woman who works at a government complex in Canada. You said, oh, this is her account. It was not. It didn't stop you from doxing her. Posting her work information, saying hags call her work, notify her work. And y'all just jump to it because you're in this cult that you can't even see. Y'all need to watch some documentaries about cults to see what it looks like, and then maybe you'll recognize yourselves. Because this ain't right. Y'all were wrong, but it didn't stop you. Y'all say, oh, this is this person, oh, this is that person. John has more enemies than you can count. And y'all think it's the same 4 or 5 people from years ago. People who have long moved on with their lives. They ain't thinking about John. They ain't doing nothing about John. Why are you so stupid? Tony ain't thinking about John. Tony is rich. His whole family's rich. He lives in a beautiful place. A dentist, he ain't thinking about John Yates. Nobody is jealous of John Yates. Nobody. What is there to be jealous of? A few years ago, a few cast members used him to put out lies. People like Larissa and Ashley, so he got mentioned in some magazines and some tabloids. Big deal. Do you know what most of the cast thinks of him? We do, because we're in contact with him. He ain't what y'all think he is. There's a few people that have been forced to meet up with him because he's latched on to Angela in order to try to meet these other people. You should hear what they have to say. He is not what you think he is. He is a pariah and has been for years. He begs and begs and begs these people to promote him. Most of them won't even do that anymore, won't even give him a little shout out in their stories. There's a few people will come on, and you know why? They're people in crisis. And I'm sorry, that last live Angela joined, that was not some happy we're good friends live. She was mad. She was mad about what was being said. Mad. And saying, people are my friends because I'm on the show. You don't think she meant John? That woman was mad. And John's all, oh, I'll smooth it over for you, Brooklyn. Trying to make people think, oh, he's got such pull with her. It didn't sound like it. In the end, she made her peace because she don't want no trouble. But that was not a friendly stop by. Only John would be stupid enough to take that and post it going, exclusive interview with Angela Deem. Moron. Absolutely stupid in the head. That was not an exclusive interview. She was mad. But this needs to stop. Your community tab full of hate? No. You're too old for that, lady. You get so worked up when somebody says you're 55. Well, you're just a few months away, ain't you? May as well be. Closer to 55 than 54. That's too old for this. Too old for this. What happened to you? What's wrong with you? You know, a lot of people lose their identity after they get that surgery. They imagine what they're going to look like. They've looked at skinny women all their lives thinking, oh, that's what I'm going to look like. And even though that weight falls off, their bodies don't look like that. And they get bitter and unhappy. And that food addiction they had, that self-soothing that they had, it's gone. They're a little lost. They can't go bury their face in a chocolate cake or some potato chips while they're memorializing someone. So their way of life is turned upside down. And what they thought they were going to get is not what they got. And so they're bitter and they're lost. And they usually need therapy. And lady, you are a walking billboard announcing how badly you're in need of therapy. Go get it. Show your therapist your community page. See what a licensed professional would have to say about that. Because it's messed up. It is so messed up. Tony don't even know who you are, lady. And John, y'all had your little run-in 4 years ago or whatever that was? Because he was protecting some girl you were just attacking? She wasn't alone in that, and you know it. There were other people involved in that. People you stayed friends with. After it. You put it all on her. And he stood up to defend it, that's all. He don't care about you. He's not thinking about you. And he's knuckling crack. Wrong. Again. But it doesn't stop you from going out there and saying all this hateful stuff about some stranger who ain't thinking about you. Who has a life you could only dream of. Someone brought that up to you and you're like, well, I have degrees. What are you doing with them, sir? And you ain't got no masters. You're lying and lying about that. That's why you won't ever show it. You didn't finish that one. And you weren't ever a teacher. Not one day, maybe a sub. But all teachers have to be licensed. And all licenses are public. And they don't pull them out because you quit. They would still be posted. You ain't never been certified as a teacher. Therefore, you ain't never been a teacher. Stop lying. You show all these frames far off and blurry because you know most of them are participation trophies. So little certificates that mean nothing. You say you got 2 bachelor's degrees because you got a double bachelor. That ain't how that works, you moron. And you ain't got no masters. Stop lying. Stop pretending to be something you ain't. And even if you've had a master's, what have you done with it? You lie about the jobs you've had. You've mostly been a bartender. You say YouTube's your money. You ain't making no money on YouTube. You get mad at your subscribers when they start talking to each other about how much they're giving you. Just like that old Faith. That was your friend way back. Just loved Faith. Faith made a fatal mistake of asking someone else if they were giving you money and how much money they were giving you. Oh, you went off on that poor woman. That woman was so sweet to everybody she ever met. But you don't want these women to know how much each other are giving. You want them all to think they are your only source of income so you can keep begging and saying, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that. But you ain't never without a cigarette. You ain't never without wine. These women are all paying and thinking they're the only ones paying. And that's how you want to keep it. You don't want them comparing notes. I wish they all would. I wish they'd all sit down and say, well, last month I gave him this much. How much did you give him? And then they'd find out real quick, wouldn't they? But you're not a grifter, are you? I gotta get out of here. I need money. I gotta get out of here. There you see it. I need a lawyer. How many times you cried for a lawyer? All you gotta do is stop fighting people. Just stop it. People say bad things about you. Ignore it. That's the life of YouTube. Look at Katie Joy. Katie Joy gets more hate than... you would just spontaneously combust if you got the hate Katie Joy got. What does she do? She just keeps going and growing and growing. Look up on Social Blade how much that woman makes. That could be you. But you see one little comment and you go off. That's all you can focus on. You're so worried about what everybody's out there saying about you. Who cares? Don't listen. It has derailed you so badly. When Maria was there keeping you in line, look how good you were doing. Best you've done in years. You drove her away, didn't you? And now look at you. Julie stepped back in, and Julie loves the trouble and the hate. She loves running up to you with her cheeks all pink. Oh, look what I found. This person's saying this, John. So she can get up on your platform and use it as her own to take out all her frustration and bitterness at the world. Because if she went live on her own channel, maybe 2 people would show up. Because you know not even you would show up. So she gets you worked up. So she can jump on your live and use your platform for herself. You used to tell her, stop bringing this to me, it upsets me. Now you just join right in and don't even realize how badly she has derailed you. When you lose your platform, you can thank her. As you keep losing members, losing followers, you said you had hundreds of thousands of followers. Oh my word, that is so delusional. You can't even keep 35,000 on the YouTube. You can't take all your separate subscribers and followers and add them all together. You know there's the same people on each platform. It's not different ones. That's why when you're going to go live on YouTube, you go to Instagram and tell everybody, because you know it's the same people. That's why on Twitter you tell people, come look at your YouTube. It's the same people. You can't add them 3 times because it's 3 different places. They're the same people, and it ain't hundreds of thousands even added together. And if it is, it's even sadder that you can't even scrape together 2,000 people most of the time. You got people in your comments telling you what a mess you are. But you can't keep yourself together because of the company you keep and because of the evil in your heart. You pull out those beads and pray for people's deaths. You need to be pulling out those beads and praying to be a better person. Praying to get sober. Your life is sad. You manipulate and bully and lie and fake. It ain't gonna last forever. This lifestyle is deadly. You already got a serious liver issue that you done shared with your husband. That's a time bomb. You need to get sober and get that treated. Y'all both like to lie about cancer. I've seen people I love die of cancer. You claim you have. It's painful. It's a horrible way to go. But it's 100% your future if you don't sober up and get yourself treated. And if the people around you loved you, that's what they'd be telling you. It's sad That it's the people on Reddit and people like myself that have actual helpful things to say to you. The people who supposedly love you, they ain't saying this to you. They're feeding the fire. They're keeping you drunk. They're keeping you mad. They're destroying your channel. They're destroying your health, and you're letting them. You've had a million chances, and you have thrown every last one of them away. And what have you gained from it? How is your life better since you've been spending it on hate instead of something good? Look at your life. It's sad. Y'all beating each other up on screen? Ain't nobody jealous of you, sir. Y'all need therapy. You done got a diagnosis. You done got put on medicine. You didn't keep it up. If it don't make you high, you're not interested. You say you love Jesus. You know all these prayers. Get yourself to an AA meeting real quick and get your life together. You're too old for this. And that's my TED Talk.